Python programming, we will discuss topic called as conditional recursion. In this conditional recursion, we're going to discuss about recursion, and we're going to discuss about infinite recursion, and also we're going to discuss about keyboard input. So let us come to the detailed syllabus. In this, so we discuss about floor division and modulus, and we'll also discuss about Boolean expressions, logical operators, and conditional execution, alternate execution, and chained conditionals, nested conditionals. And after that, we're going to recursion, infinite recursion, keyboard. So these are the detailed topics we are going to discuss in this video. So first of all, we'll discuss this part. And this will be covered in lecture 10 and this will be covered in lecture 11. So first of all, what is meant by floor division and modulus? So what is floor division is, for example, digit after the decimal point are removed in the floor division. That means for floor division we use special symbol called as double slash. Normally for the division we use single slash. For floor division we are going to use. For example, if you use 9 by 2, what is the result we are going to is 4.5. But if you use 9 doubles, that is floor division by 2, we get 4. That is fraction part will be automatically removed. Only we get decimal part will be we will get. So, and also you know how what is the thing in modulus operator. So what is modulus operator is, which is the purpose of getting the remainder. So for example, 9 by 2 mod is 1 you are going to get. So for getting remainder we use modulus. So this is how we can use floor division. So simply for floor division is for getting the only the decimal part only. We doesn't require the fraction part. For that we can use floor division. So let us, I will show the command simple execution, then you can understand. So for example, 9 by 2 is getting for us 4.5. If I give 9 double slash 2, it is going to give me 4. So this double slash is called as the floor division. So next topic is Boolean expressions. So what is Boolean expressions is, if you give A is equal to B, it derives whether A is B a true or not. So for that we get and not equal. If you want to verify whether they are not equal, so for use not equal to operator. If you want to verify, already know that greater than operator, less than operator, A greater than B, greater than or A less than or equal to B, and so after executing these all expressions, you may get either true or false. So for example, A is equal to 5. If you take the values, A is equal to 5 and B is equal to 5 and C is equal to 6. And if you use A is equal to, returns the true. If you use A is equal to C, it returns the false. So and also we are having the three logical operators are there. What are the logical operators we are having is AND operator and OR operator and NOT operator. So these all things I will show the program execution, then you can better understand about those concepts. Now for example, first of all I will assign A is equal to 5 and I assign B is equal to 5 and I assign C is equal to 6. If I use A is equal to B, I am getting the true. If I use A is equal to C, I am getting the false. And after that, if you want verify that what is, for example, if you use not A, so it is, so we have to use, for example, not operator is also there. If you use a not operator, it is going to specify the false. Why? Because the A is numerical, having numerical value, not A is a positive, which will be giving the false to us. And also we can use, for example, A is greater than or equal to B, then it is giving me true answer. If I use A less than or equal to C, then A value is 5 and C value is 6, that's why returning the true value. And for clearing the screen, we can simply use import OS, and we can go for OS dot system of CLS, then automatically screen will be cleared. But we need to see what are the values we are using. That's why we need to, it doesn't want to clear the screen. After later I will clear the screen. Now after that, for example, if I use for example, A is equal to, if I use the statement A is equal to B and A is equal to C. What is the answer we're going to get? A value is 5 and B value is 5. That's why it is true. But A is 5 and C is 6. That's why it is false. So true and true only it gives the AND operator will give the true. But here true false. That's why we're getting the false answer. I think you understood that the thing of, for example, the statement, same statement, if I use with respect to the OR operator, it is going to give me uh, true. Why? Because any one thing will become true, then automatically the result is also true. So this is how we can use the statements not operator, AND operator, and OR operator, and also relational operators like greater than is equal to, not equal. So for example, if I use the statement A not equal to C, then what am I going to get answer? We go to answer true. Why? Because A is 5 and C is 6 is not equal. That's why it gives the answer true. So like this, we can use the both relational operators and logical operators in the Python programming language. So now I can clear the screen by using the command os dot system of CLS. If you give CLS, automatically screen will be cleared off. So like this we can clear the screen. Let us discuss the next topics in the syllabus. Next topic is conditionals. So what is a conditionals is, well, how do you know that? A condition will change the flow of the program. What are the conditions which change the flow of the program? If statement use it in the conditions, it will change the way the program will be executed. So what is the syntax is here is if condition and colon. And after that, what is the statement we need to be execute after condition statement. So this is how we can use if statement. Already you know in your C programming language, I think. And what is alternate execution is, so here we have both else is also used. So if condition is satisfied, if part is executed. If the condition is not satisfied, else part is going to be executed. So, and after that, chained condition. What is chained conditions is, sometimes we need to verify the multiple conditions. For that, we are having in C programming else if is there, but in Python programming language we are having elif. So the how to use elif I will show in this particular program execution. So after if condition you can also go with the elif. So like that you can use any number of elif condition, and finally you can go with the else part. So this is how we can write the chained conditionals. And next one is nested condition. What is nested? What is nested conditionals is, within one condition we can have the another condition. So that is how we can execute the. So I will show you how to execute these conditionals. So by using the program and see this. So go to the file, open the new file, and here what I am doing is I am assigning A is equal to 5, and I am assigning C is equal to 1 minute, B is equal to again 5, and C is equal to 6. And here what I am doing is I am using my if condition, if of. So we have to write our condition. If A is equal to 5, then put colon. Then what we need to do? For example, I want to print a message A and B are equal. A and B are equal. Now, for example, I want to, if you're having any statements, okay. If you're not having any statement, then press enter. Then write your else statement. So if I write my else statement, and I have, so maintain the indentation. Sorry. So here, write the statement print A and B are not equal. So like this we can write our simple if and condition. Now let us save this program. Now let us save this program. So the program I can save it as if else dot some, with any extension you can save, no problem. So I saved my program. Now you can simply run the module, then the program is going to execute. So I forgot to put the colon here. So now if I run the program, then it's going to execute, and the output is So we are going, so A and B are equal. So like this, we are getting the output for the program. Rather than reading the initialize the values before itself, now what we can do is we can read the values from command. Then it's better for us to execute the program. Input of enter a value, and so the here the input function we are using for the reading the data from the user. Now what we can do is we can simply put a is equal to b. So print a and b are equal, and else print a and b are not equal. Now let us save this particular program. Save and execute. So I think I forgot to put the brace here. So that's why it is generating the error. And let us save this particular program and so again it is showing an error. What is the error is here. So what is the error we committed is we forgot to place the another brace here. So another bracket we need to place. That is the only error. Now let us save this particular program and try to execute it. Now it is asking the a value. Now I am entering a value as 5 and b value as 5 and c value as 6. Now 6 but a and b are equal. Now if I execute the same program once again, so let us just test for the another cases. Now it is asking the a value. So a value is 5 and b value is 6 and c value is 7. So a and b are not equal. But the c here, if you observe, I am not verifying the c value. But I unnecessary checking, but initially value. But let us check with another. So for that we need another condition. So now what I can do is I want to verify that condition. How we can add multiple condition is elif a is equal to, so we're going to verify the another condition. A is equal to C and let us put colon and add the statement that is print A and C are equal. A and C are equal. Let us verify the another possibility is also there. That is elif B is equal to C colon. Now what we can do? So we can simply print b and c are equal. If nothing is equal, then simply what we can do is a comma b and c are not equal. Like that simple message we can print. Let us save this program and try to execute it. Now I am giving my a value as 8 and b value as 7 and c value is going to 7. Now what is the output we are going to get? A and c should be equal. So it is printing a and c are equal. So this is how we can use the condition. So how in the Python programming we can write the multiple conditions if elif. So if you want to add another condition, we can use elif. So like this we can do. And one more possibility we have discussed, that is within elif there is a possibility to add another if condition is there. Yes, it is there. So we can add also. So how I can add is, so within else also we can add another if condition. So here we need to, sorry, 1 minute. If a is equal to 0, print, so we can also add the condition a and b are 0. So give the space and let us print a and b are, if for example we only will go with so what we can do is, if a is equal to 0, print a is 0, else elif, so we can print, so print a and b is like that we can add. So one more condition is also we have been added here. So let us execute this program. Let us save and let us run this program on module, and it is asking a value as 0 and b value is 5 and C value I'm giving as a 7. Now what is the output we're getting? A value is 0. So finally, so nothing is matched, and finally we go to the else part. In the else part, what we have written? A is 0. So like this, within one else part or if part also we can add another. So this is called as the nested. This is called as the nested. So like this we can think. And so let us discuss the next topics with respect to the this topic. So next topic is recursion. So what is meant by recursion is, so you already know in C programming language, if a function is calling itself is called as the function is calling itself is called as the recursion. So for example, here I have a method, countdown method, and it is what I am doing is, first of all I am verifying n is less than 0. I am going to print a blast. Otherwise what I am going to print is, I will print the n value. But what after the else what I am doing is, I am decreasing n value, again calling the count function. What happens? Again my countdown function is going to be called. So like that the function itself is calling, so that's why it is called as the recursion. So how this particular program executes, with respect to n is equal to 4, first countdown function n is going to call, and first of all the condition is verified, that is n less than 0, condition is false. Why? Because n value is 4. Then automatically print n, it is going to produce the output 4. Then I calling n is equal, next statement is good, n is equal to n minus 1, and again I am calling count function. Now so what is happened? Now the n value has become 3. Now the countdown function is again called with respect to the value 3. So again it is called. So if n less than 0, what is going to happen? Again print n is going to execute, that's why it is going to print the 3 value. So like this, again the call down function with respect to 2, like this it is condition, again countdown function is called. So finally, now the n value is become 1. So again counter, now the n value is 0. Now what will happen is, n less than 0, condition is satisfied. So automatically it will print the message blast and comes out of the execution. So like this program will be executed. So how the program is, so recursion is going to execute it, we have seen through this particular simple video. So let us try to execute. I will show that particular program execution, then you can better understand. So we try to write a simple program here. So what is our program is, open the new file and you can name it as a recursion. So now what I am simply writing a program. So we know that functions can be created by using def keyword. So simply call that function countdown. So countdown 4. So put, now write the statement. What is the condition we're verifying? If n less than 0, write down print blast. So now else what we're going to do is, we're going to print that particular n value. Then after that we are going to decrement that particular n is equal to n minus 1. Then after that we are going to call our function once again, that is countdown of n. So like that we have called it. Now we try to call that function. So 1 minute, here we can, rather than putting we can simply mention n. Now we can call the function countdown of 4. So now we have created a particular recursive function. Let us see what is going to be happen. Save the program and run the module. Now see, the program is called itself. It's printed 43210, and finally after n less than 0, recursion has been stopped and the output we are getting is the blast. So this is how our recursion programs are executed. And next topic is infinite recursion. Making recursive calls forever, the program never terminates. So see here what I have done is, here rather than decrementing the value, rather than decrement the value, what I done is I increment the value. The program will never stop. The function is continuously calling itself. Never the condition n less than 0. Why? Because here I am incrementing the n value. That's why n will continuously increment. So program never stops. So this is called as the infinite recursion. So initially called 4. Now what happens? N is equal to n plus 1. Now the n value will become 5, and called the countdown function is called with respect to the 5. And again, so it produces the printed function with the 5. So like this, it continuously, never the program will stop. So this is called as the infinite recursion. So next topic is stack diagram for recursive functions. So we already discussed about what is stack diagram. So what is stack diagram is, in the Python programming, every function can be represented with a frame. So that particular diagram is called as the stack diagram. So for this particular countdown program, how we can draw stack diagram? Basically, we are calling the countdown program with respect to number of n values. For example, if n is 4, how many functions are going to created? So we are going to create 4 countdown functions with one countdown function with respect to n is equal to 3, and another countdown function with respect to the n is equal to 2, and another countdown function with respect to n less than 1, another countdown function with respect to n greater than n 0 value. So for each and every function, what is stack diagram? It contains the function name and square rectangle. Inside the rectangle, whatever the local variables are there inside that particular function, what are the current values that particular local variable contained in the stack diagram. So I have already discussed this particular topic in the previous class. So if anyone have doubt, go to the previous video in the unit 1. So next topic is keyboard input. So what is keyboard input? Just we discuss reading the input from the user. For that, just I have shown in the program also. If you want to, rather than initializing the values, what we can do is we can just read the data from the keyboard by using the input function. So input function default reads the data in the string format. So to convert the data from the string format to the integer, what I am doing is I am putting the input function inside the int function. That's why by it automatically string will be converted into the integer and the a will contain the integer value. So like this we can use this particular input function. So thank you very much.